Alrighty. Okay. So I'm wanting to paint miniatures. I could do some other things too, but I want to paint miniatures. I hope you're all doing well. Getting settled here. Move the microphone out. Pan that a little bit over here. Welcome to our Friday show. Hopefully, all of you are doing well. Okay. I'm just painting through the news real quick. Mainstream news, except for the anger. Let's not even look at the news today. Fuck the news. Yep, let's paint miniatures and talk about Bigfoot and Dogman. If you don't want to talk about Bigfoot and Dogman, there's 10,000 other live streams out there, and you go find your tribe there that way. I don't give a shit. My name is Bruce, and I do weird shit on the internet. I have fun. That's what I want. I want fun. I know a lot of people don't understand fun. They want to engage, they want to create content. They're boring twats for the most part. A lot of people are just fucking boring. And I wanted to do something different today because it's Friday. And maybe I was looking for my friend Raven from Shadow Stream because she's a big cryptid, a UFO aficionado. And I just, I find those topics fun. Hey, Janet, jump in here. I just sent you the link. Get your katushkas in here. Get your tushkis in here. Yes, I said a Jewish word. I hope you're all well. I know there's some people out there that don't understand that. They want hate and they want discontent. Generally, I want peace. I like the idea of peace. It lets me do my things the way I want to do them without interference. Interference is bad. People don't understand that. Like, you want to achieve your goals, but you're going to interrupt yourself to go knock down somebody else. That sounds pretty lame. Just saying. So, right now, this big heap of resin, polymer, petroleum I have in my hands. This is a figurine that I got out of a Reaper box. And I have two more boxes to unbox. This is my miniature pile of shame. I need to work on it. Currently, waiting to be resined is about 30 figurines. Most of them. Oh, Janet's like, I'm about to get into the bath. Well, piss. Okay, well, have me on. Be more than happy to interact with you, but you're in the tub, so don't get yourself electrocuted. And for those of you still using the bingo cards, go ahead and cross off Bruce drinks a beer. So, I guess we could start this topic or start this discussion and joyous day. I've been up now for over 11 hours. Actually, over 13, 14 hours because I woke up at about 2 o'clock today and still got my battery at 1/3. So I'm thinking, okay, well, let me go do something because I was lumping hoses most of the day. Having a good day right now, actually. Enjoyed myself at work. I only did 3 jobs. Not bad jobs, like medium jobs. My boss wants me to take photographs and do, record of accountability there. That way we can show our customers we earned your check today. We earned your credit card payment. So I go out and I throw hoses and grease traps and septic pits and I suck them and I then go deliver it to a dump site where we go have a green movement and we create vegetation from compost. It's not our dump. Might be in the plans for the future. I'm not so much of an optimist. I bought a lotto ticket, but start off with today's first piece. Some of you may remember I've told this before because I've been on the internet for a few years. But in 2018 into 2019, we had a contract. My company, C&J Energy Services, now they're defunct. So I don't feel bad. Hungar, you became a member. You don't have to do that. I did that to appease YouTube so they would give me better viability and better reach. Oh, you can be a member here. And Hungar, if you want. Hungar, you have a Twitter. If you want, Hungar, you want in, I'll throw it on your Twitter. Let me see if I can find you. Hungar. Ah. Yep, I thought you'd been around for a while. You know, that puts you at the level where I don't have a lot of members, and I really don't want them. I did it just so I could get the extra viability and just be seen. But what I wanted it mainly for was just so I could be more visible to the people that I want to talk to, the ones that are into gaming. I'm sorry, Hungar. I did not realize that you were feeling ill. So, all right, let me go back to painting. I did that so I could mainly just be seen by the people I wanted to be seen with, target my audience, people like Hungar. And today I'm not wearing your shirt. I wore your I wore your shirt at work today, all the way from yesterday into today. It's my favorite shirt. Now you're lying. I appreciate it, sir, but you don't have to say that. That's awesome. Um, you have an amazing set of shirts, and I need to put this. I need to get your link up here in a chat. So there's some people out there that they want good shirts. They want funny shirts. Hungar, the Starvarian tees are amazing. Let's see. Hungar the Starvarian. Yep, there you are. He's one of my favorite people. He's very, very fun man. And he has his own line of t-shirts from T Public. Hey, Shadow and Sons here. Howdy, folks. Just popped in before I mow the front yard. Hey, Crafting Gamer. How you doing, sir? Oh, my favorite shirt that I have in my collection is still the one of Frog Navigator, Pepe the Navigator. I need to buy another one of those because I think the wife discovered it. Yeah, Hungar, we all feel this right now, man. We like you well. We like you healthy. Understand that some things aren't quite completely possible, but that's, with time, age, and just wear and tear in the body. We only get so much. We only get so long. But we want you to be around here for a few more years at the very least. I prefer decades. I don't want you to be so ill you can't do nothing. I don't want you to be going around in a Jeffrey Pike chair, but I do want you to be going around chasing nurses and flipping skirts up, enjoying yourself, because that's just how I see you, man. You're a hellraiser. Shadow, when you get done, let me know. I'll throw you the link in the ether. And let me open up my Gilded so I can throw a chat link in there if Crafting or other friends want to bump in here. All right. No, not that link. That was Hungar's link. Well, yeah, I guess I could put that in there. Okay. And then where is... Yeah, Bruce, you did this with no forethought, didn't you? I did. Just don't. I tell everyone that I'm staying alive for spite. Man, living by spite, you can power yourself for years on that. That's how I made it to Texas. I lived long enough in Illinois. I was able to get done, and I was able to, like, okay, I'm out. You guys are closing down my jobs. I'm out. I'm out of here. What's left? Nothing's left. Everything that's left is fucking Walmart and Kroger. I'm done. Okay. So, I was over in the woods of Louisiana, and we were camping about maybe 40 miles during a day with oil field equipment southeast out of Shreveport. Shreveport's kind of nice. You got a few gambling casinos that your buddies that are addicted to the good luck machine. They go there. That's like their stop. We got to take the van there, man. We'll just drop everybody off at the hotel that doesn't want to go with us. Then we're taking the van over to the hotel because we want to go gamble at the casino and their hotel. They have casino here. They don't have blackjack. Oh, fine, whatever. Okay, so we were just hanging out, and next thing I know, work is going along fairly okay, but then things start to break, and that's just kind of what happens in the oil field. You're doing good 1 minute, and the next minute you feel like you're having to blow a guy to get gas money. You boom and bust. So I get sent to go get equipment. I get back after a lengthy trip back to Corpus Christi and back round trip. Broke a few laws getting there. Broke a few laws getting back. Avoided the cops. Everybody else seems to find the cops. I can't find the cops. I never find a cop and you need one. So once I do that, I get told park the truck on the pad and just wait there. We'll send somebody after the stage to pick you up. Oh, they got things working. Awesome. So I'm just sitting there waiting, and the sounds of the swamp around me die. All my exes live in Texas, so now I hang my hat in Tennessee. That's a song quote. I love that. So I'm sitting in the cab of this crappy, I think it's a Kenworth. I've got tags that aren't quite working. Those are the retractable axle that you can just drop and such. But we were having trouble with that truck for a while. I managed to get things back, and now they're like, oh, we don't need it. We got it running without you. Okay, fine. When we walk back, no, dude, it's 1.5 miles and it's dark. You stay there. Like while I'm sitting there in the cab of this truck, it just gets really quiet. And I'm not really I'm not somebody who really enjoys the paranormal or cryptids. I just find it fascinating. Like if I was a Vulcan, fascinating. But being present when something paranormal is going on, my oh fuck comes out. So, oh, hey David. Oh, good. I finally you have a live stream, so you can ask how the new servers coming along or not. We're waiting on Discord to see what's going on because we found the ID of the guy that stole my old account, and we're waiting. I may just develop a new account over this weekend because I'm about tired. I don't like Gilded. Gilded is okay before the buyout from Roblox. Post Roblox buyout, I'm not really thrilled with it. It has some neat features that are open that you can get into right away. That's the great part about Gilded. You can share memes, you can share video, you can have a live stream in your Gilded space and just share a movie and just have a watch party there. And that's great. That's kind of what I need. But Roblox is known for problems. Like one of my players, Travis, he's in my Pathfinder gaming group. Travis is get he's a Illinois resident. He gets a visit from the people of the FBI, and Travis opens up his door. Hey, Janet, let me finish this story real quick. He gets a visit from the FBI because something's going on with his son's Roblox account, and come to find out, some groomers were after his son or his stepson, and so when Travis found out we were using Roblox as a Discord replacement, he's like, "Well, fuck." So that's where we're at. I'm going to give it another day because that would make it a full 3 weeks. And if I can't get an answer on Discord in 3 weeks, I'm done. I'm not worried about it. We'll start it later whenever they finally answer the email. Crafting Gamer. Janet, Crafting Gamer, how are you two today?
I'm okay. I'm sorry. I got my mic up because I'm finished filling my tub.
Janet, you just made the heart skip of probably 20 gamers and about 100 politics fans. Oh my, it's a
Well, I
bathtub.
changed my picture to my little ducky in the bathtub with me.
You don't drive a Jeep, do you?
I don't drive a Jeep. I drive a truck.
Okay, well, I was going to say you're the type of woman that should drive a Jeep. Do you know why you should drive a Jeep, Janet?
Why?
Do you know? I mean, I'm not a fan of Jeep's reliability and breakdown records, but Jeeps have a social media thing that's not on social media. Like if you ever see a Jeep in the wild and you want to have more interactions with the Jeep owner, you put a rubber ducky on their Jeep. And sometimes it has a little door hanger around the rubber ducky's neck. It says, "You've been ducked." And somebody has saw fit to give you new rubber ducky. Now I saw a Jeep today when I parked at the HEB that there was 30 rubber duckies lined up in staggered rows on this dashboard. So whoever that Jeep belongs to in the Jeep community, that Jeep owner is a rather popular MF. I don't know if they can carry a dozen donuts on their dick or what, but I mean they are a very popular person in the Jeep community because their Jeep had a lot of rubber duckies in it, and it looked like just a regular Jeep, like type you get over at the dealership for like $60,000. Yep, see, Hungar knows what I'm talking about. I found 2 ducks on my Jeep. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. David Guile says, "Yeah, not a fan of Gilded either." Baby girl. Hey, baby girl, how are you? She's a long-time listener, long-time interactor. Crafting Gamer, do you have sound?
Yeah, my connection immediately dropped as soon as I got in, so I was waiting to see if I could actually stay.
Okay. Are you two ready for this weekend? I am.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping
I'm
to
pretty
talk
sure I
about
am.
Bigfoot. Okay. So I'm finishing up the story. We were over in Shreveport, and I'm there. I just drive back, and I know the location of the well site. It's just up this dirt road from where I'm parked, and all I've got to do is walk up about a mile and a half. But I can't hear any wild animals. This is not the time to get out of your truck.
Oh, is this the Bigfoot story?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll shut up.
this is the
Okay.
Bigfoot story because, like, I'm there in the truck, and all of a sudden I hear like a little tap, tap, thud, tap, and my truck is getting hit by little like bits of rock, little bits of dirt, like maybe nothing bigger than like maybe initially like a dime. But then a dirt clod hits the front of the hood, and I nearly pooped myself because this is like behavior that's been talked about before, like from David Paulides and Bigfoot National Public blah 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 syndrome on YouTube. Various podcasts talk about like Bigfoots will throw rocks at you and they want you to go away. Trust me, Bigfoot. Now that you're here, I don't want to be here. I want to be gone. And I text my boss, I'm like, hey, just come get me quick. I don't like what I'm feeling out here. And he broadcasts that on the company chat. So like everybody starts calling Bruce a scaredy cat. Well, I've been walking through these woods before, and it was like dead quiet. And I picked up a stick and I decided to lump my way to the well site. I'm not doing that again a second time. And as my boss's truck pulls up about 30 minutes later, and I've already like stood on the side of the truck to pee because I had to pee. Like you could hear like some noises around you. You can hear like various calls, various like samurai talk, like stuff, but I couldn't see it. You know, I know there's something there, unless somebody's just like in the woods with a speaker and they're fucking with me. Like they're doing a fucking Oscar-winning job of fucking with me because I'm willing to believe like there's a big beastie there. And my boss and I we're talking about things as he pulls up, and he's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, yeah, something's woolly out there." And then something screams. You can hear like a scream. It's maybe about a quarter mile away. And then he just kind of looks at me dead ass and says, "Yeah, let's get in the truck and go." And I'm like, "Please and thank you." So we hurry off. And he doesn't tell anybody about it until we're drinking beers later on that night. I fucking mouthed it off to, I think it was Ricky on the way back because I had to drive another truck. Raven, how can I reach you?
What happened to did you leave your truck there? The
Yeah.
one that broke down?
No, this wasn't a truck that broke down. We had to haul equipment back from Corpus Christi. I had a round trip from Shreveport to Corpus Christi and back within a day. And we were breaking laws by doing what we did anyway, but whatever. You're only supposed to work like 14 hours behind the wheel and only a total of like 11 hours behind the wheel. And that's the state of Texas. Across like the nation, you can only do like 10 now. So I was not a fan of hanging out in Shreveport. I mean, Shreveport's fine, but you go further into Louisiana, and I'm like, I don't like it here. I can tell there's something here. I can tell there's something here. It just feels woolly. It just feels like there's something.
So you were out in the middle of nowhere, not near any property or someone's homes?
Yeah, we were by somebody's property. We weren't by any homes. We were by like some wildland areas in a marshy spot. Let me see if I can pick it up because I believe I used to have it marked on my map. We're over by Clifton.
Okay.
Sure it is. Raven, if you want to join us, I'll be more than happy to bring you in, talk about Bigfoot and Dogman. We were kind of, we did 2 jobs in Flatwoods. We did another job in Mora, and then we did our final 3 jobs in Clifton for a company called XTO Petroleum. And they're actually a subsidiary or a little shelter corporation of ExxonMobil. Raven, do you have an X or Twitter account? What's the way that I could reach you? I want you on the panel. Raven talks a lot about cryptids and UFO stuff, and I was kind of wanting to do that because later tonight we'll talk about politics and hatred. But for right now, I'll talk about anything but fucking politics.
Yeah, taking a break.
I'm not there yet. So, we kind of had all this problems on the well site. Like, there's items missing. There's things thrown around. We had some guys that were going to leave like food there, and a couple of them did. And we came back the next day, and the food's gone. Anybody got Raven on Facebook or Messenger?
Well, you need to put a trail cam out there.
It's not my property.
I know, but I mean, out where it was dropped off. If it's on the edge of the property, no one's going to know it's there. And leave it there for a week or so, and then go back and get it, and then see what's on it. I know people that do that all the time, especially in really rural areas.
I'd be more than happy to do that. Raven, follow the white.
Good information to put on your channel.
I've talked about this before. Oil field work is fun until it's not. Just follow this link right here, Raven. See if we can get you in here. This area, we found out later that like people have been having problems in that area, and they always do whenever they put equipment there. And so we were told after we made mention of it to the company man, what not to put there, what not to do there. Don't lay down ammonia. Don't lay down ammonia at all. That's not a good thing.
What's that mean?
It's offensive to their nose. They will break stuff. And I already have problems with equipment. I've already spent 16 hours on the road going to and coming from Corpus Christi, and I've written in new logbook because my tablet that I'm supposed to use in electronic logging is broke. And so if you ever have that situation, they tell you in the rules of the FMCSA, if your electronic device becomes faulty, please go back to paper logs. Hey, Marianne, how you doing? So we were just of the mindset that, there's something here. About 4 of us felt something, saw evidence of it. One of the guys claimed he saw it. I didn't really believe him. I don't want to believe him. That's more apt to be the truth. I don't want to believe it. Like whenever I've seen UFOs before, I've been like, that's not of God. Let me walk in the opposite direction and not be fucking bothered by it. And that's been my attitude towards UFOs and shit. I'm not into it. Oh, please don't hover near me. No.
So you saying that doesn't mean that you don't believe in it. It just means that you don't want to run into Bigfoot.
Yeah, exactly. Like he can do what he wants. I just don't want to be there when he does it. Hey, Raven, how are you? Hello.
Hi. Crafting. Thanks for inviting me on. How you doing? Hi, Janet.
Hi.
Crafting. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Relaxing.
Crafting's internet setup might be being affected by some of the local storms.
Oh, we have had rain for 2 solid weeks. My yard is a jungle and it's a mud fest everywhere. I've never seen it like this so bad before. Ridiculous.
It's fun until it's not. That's typically how I view things. When you get to that until it's not stage, that's when you're like, I want to go. I want to just pack up my tent and my stakes. I want to leave. You turn into a toddler again. No, mommy, I don't want to be camping anymore.
I have a leak in the roof and I cannot get it fixed because it won't stop raining long enough to get it dried out to fix it. And it ran right down into an electrical outlet. And so I'm having to run all these extension cords crisscrossing all through the house. Because I can only.
You can't get a roofing company to come and like put a tarp over it to give it a chance to dry out for you.
No, and I rent, so I didn't want to call it. I can't call a roofing company.
Yeah, that would also require they actually go to where she lives, which is literally the middle of nowhere.
Oh.
And some
Okay.
some companies have a range limit.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just gonna fix it myself, or at least try to. It's easier that way. But
Yeah, don't feel bad, Raven. I totally understand you live in the middle of nowhere thing. I live more than 20 minutes out of town, and there's a lot of services that's like, yeah, we're not going that far.
yeah, and I live on this hill, and the driveway is so bad. I mean, it's very, very steep, and every time they have come to re-gravel it, a good hard rain, everything washes down, and there's these deep gullies where the rainwater, washes down. I mean, it's up like to my knee. If I stand in one. I mean, it's a good thing I've got a Jeep because otherwise you can't get up the hill. So contractors take a look at that hill. They're like, not doing it. Bye. Next.
That's how it is.
Yeah. So.
Like, Janet's kind of the same way. She lives out in the middle of BFE.
Mhm.
It's the same way. I used to live out in middle BFE. I don't even think they have internet where I used to live in Illinois. I think, and that's right by the interstate. I know you have wireless service. I don't think they have internet. Not the way
That's gonna hurt later.
Where in Illinois did you live?
Deer Creek, between
Deer
Peoria.
Creek, up by Chicago.
No, by Peoria and Bloomington. Chimerian would tell you it was a nice apartment, far better than what I deserved. It really was. It was a nice apartment.
So is that like in the middle of the state then?
Correct.
Okay. I'm right across the river from St. Louis.
Okay. I've got a few places in my head where you live, but if St. Louis wasn't so St. Louis-y, it would be a great city.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you can ruin a city so thoroughly. Like,
yeah,
they're looking to Chicago like, how can we be more like you?
They were the murder capital of the United States there for a while.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I had family that lived here, and so that's why I ended up here. But I used to just come here and party on St. Patty's Day. They do a really great St. Patty's Day parade, and everybody's really into it. And then I just wound up here. So
I really liked St. Louis for the longest time, and then one time I was there, and the visit went downhill fast. And it wasn't my city anymore. It's like, okay, I guess I'm going back to Peoria. Peoria is okay. There's problems there too, but it's at least pleasant enough to where I don't get the same treatment as I was seeing in St. Louis. Like, somebody thought there's a part of St. Louis called the Hill, and we were out, and somebody accosted me thinking that I was part of the family that owned the 6 restaurants on the hill, the trattorias, or the Lombardo trattorias there.
Yeah, I've been there, and I've been up there. They have the best Italian restaurants.
Yeah,
ever.
It still is my favorite Italian restaurant of all time, and the people we got the same last name, kind of the same story, same lineage up until a certain point. They are mostly nice people, but apparently somebody got upset with them, and they were willing to just beat on anybody that's got the last name Lombardo. So I'm like,
oh my gosh,
I'm not from here. I'm not part of this bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, that's a shame.
And I'm pretty certain that, like, the person that was trying to do the physical altercation with me, I'm pretty certain that they seriously overestimated the amount of value that was missing on something. But I'm also fairly certain that Lombardos aren't involved with what those guys were saying they were involved with, because this was back in 2008, 2010, and those guys were fairly mediocre, run-of-the-mill, just Americanized Italians. That's it. They like making money. They like going to do their religious services at part of the week. They love their family. They love providing for the community around them. That's it. I didn't think they were involved with anything serious. And this guy tried inventing a story, and I think he was just wanting to beat on somebody. Well, they owe me money. Well, that's not my problem. Have fun. You're a part of your family. I'm a broke member of the family. Don't come at me.
Yeah. So what when you were talking about something when I was trying to get on about you were at a job site or something and you had
Yeah,
things
we
thrown
were.
at you and
Yeah,
moved around?
for about 20 minutes, I had pair of, at least a pair of them, throwing clods of dirt on the hood of this truck as
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there in the truck. And I'm sitting in the middle of this kind of a mired or swampland area. And this was in Clifton, Louisiana, which is not a bad area. It's kind of nice, kind of pleasant. You do have some very expensive homes in the area, but we're on a job and we're supposed to be doing this work for this company and setting in some new wellheads because they want to have more residual money coming in, which I don't blame them. Everybody wants free money, and that's what this is. Oil field is free money. If you're
Mm-hmm.
on the land and you can get the company to give you mineral rights, that's your kids and your grandkids' college. That's generational wealth that you have nothing to do with. You just update it, you maintain it, and you make sure the money keeps flowing. You'll have a happy life. And so they set up a few wellheads around these three little cities for XTO, part of Exxon Mobil. And at the last one, I'd been on the road for 16 hours. I'm not supposed to be, but I did. And if I would have been pulled over, I could get out of it saying, well, I was doing personal conveyance because I know where the vans are at. So I can go back to the shop, back to the hotel and rest.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to keep driving. So when I get there, I wait for like 45 minutes, 30 of which is in absolute silence of any swamp activity. There's no monster or no animals chattering or chittering. There's nothing going on in terms of wildlife sounds. It's
That's a bad sign.
yes, yes, I recognize this. This is a sign that there's a big predator thingy
Yes.
around.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just sitting there and I'm trying not to poop myself. And I do a good job of that. I do find a bucket on the floorboards of the passenger side of the truck. So I'm like, okay, well, let me defecate in this bucket. And after I get that stuff cleaned up, and I put the bucket outside, the clod, there's like a big clod of dirt that comes and just hurls up against the hood. And I'm like, shit, what the fuck? Boss, come get me. Boss, come get me now, you know? And he's like, what the fuck, Bruce? We're in the middle of a stage. We're about ready to throw the sand out. What's going on? And I'm like, there's something here. I don't hear the animals talking. And he's like, bullshit. You're just listening to George Norrie on podcast. You fucking idiot. And I'm like, it's Art Bell. And he just laughs and then he ignores me for the next 15 minutes. And for like this period of time, I go and I can't hold it any longer. I've been on the road too long. I didn't take a break. And so I stand on the side of the truck where the little steps are and I'm peeing off on the rocks. And I get hit with a small piece of like dirt, not big. It dents my ball cap. You know, you can feel it tink up. No big deal. And I'm like, please don't throw a big boulder at me.
Yeah.
That's all I can think. And then finally, I get back in the truck, and that's when the heavier stuff starts hitting the truck. It's not big, heavy stuff. It's like softball size and smaller, but like dirt clods. When I get
Right.
done, when I finally hear them shut things down, about 5 minutes later, the boss pulls up with the truck, and he hears something scream in the woods or whatever this is. This terrain is around us, and I'm not wanting to hang out here. I don't want to know what that is. I want to go home.
Yeah. Right.
I want the hotel. I want to smother my face in the woman's bosom and forget all about this. I want to forget about the fact that I clenched my ass for an hour driving down the road. I want to forget about the fact about shitting in a bucket. I want to forget about the fact about 30 minutes of watching pebbles and little rocks and pieces of dirt slam against the hood of my truck, and no animals out there making noise, no braying of dogs, no nothing. The insects are silent. The birds are quiet as hell. And this is
Mhm.
like August. I should hear like everything going on. I should hear like the bees fucking, okay? But none of that. And I'm just closer and closer and closer to being done with all this. And he pulls up and he kind of laughs at me. He gives me a little ribbing. Oh, Bruce, here you are listening to bullshit ghost stories, and what's all that dirt on the truck? I'm like, they're throwing it at us, and like a few dirt clods hit his truck. He doesn't really pay attention to it until we both hear it yell. It's like a quarter mile away, but I'm outside the cab of a vehicle and I can feel it in my chest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm done. I'm fucking done, dude. Let's go. He's like, yeah, get in here. And so we drive off, and I think Mitchell was his last name actually, but we had a funny name for him, which I forgot. It's like 6 years ago. And I tell him about it because he has to ride back with me. I have to drive one of the other vehicles back to the hotel, and tomorrow I'll take it back to the yard in Corpus, and I'll double my way back, which is good because I won't have to deal with Bigfoot.
Right.
So I finally, when I get back to the yard, here's the boss handing me like money. Go over to Whole Foods, get us some real food. So I go back to Whole Foods and I take Mitchell with me, and we grab like $300 worth of meat and beer. And they're getting the charcoal ready on the grill, which is good. And we get back, and the boss is already talking about it because they found a 40 for him to drink. He's like, you ain't gonna believe this shit. Bruce is talking about Bigfoot on a fucking text message, and that's why I threw it out in the group chat. Well, I get over to where Bruce is at. His truck that he drove back is covered with dirt clods. Bruce said he couldn't see him, but they were throwing dirt at him the whole time he had gotten back. What? Yeah, I'm telling you, it's all there. And then the next day, after everybody gave us shit, the whole night we're drinking, trying to drink in peace, bottoms up. We get back to work the next day, and one of the guys had left like a bag of beef jerky in an igloo cooler, which is not airtight. And so that cooler was torn in half and thrown against one of the machines on the backside of the oil well. And we found the empty plastic where whatever it was tore open the beef jerky.
Uh-huh.
And
Quick question.
We had mud around these, but like nobody wanted to measure. We saw the footprints, and we fucked with the footprints for like putting your own boot inside the footprint. And you're like, wow, that's big. But
question,
like, I don't
Bruce.
know if anybody took photos of it. When I've been in other frat groups, when we saw shit, like we had one guy, he videotaped, or he put on his camera on his phone for about 30 seconds a UFO we were watching down at the Rio Grande.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of weird. But I was not in the mood to mess with this Bigfoot because like I felt it yell and I felt my chest like crumple like tissue paper. I'm done. Like, you're a superior being to me. Let me leave. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Bear. How you doing?
Hi, Bear.
I'm a little insulted. I didn't get an invite.
I'm sorry. I didn't
I
realize
don't
that
know,
you were
Bruce. I feel like we're growing apart. We're not the friends we once were.
We're not growing apart, Bear. It's just the fact I'm like not as available as I'd like to be.
No, we
Hi,
are.
Jackie Blue. Bear, it's nothing against you. It's nothing against anybody here. It's just that today when I got home, I wanted to talk Bigfoot and such, and I saw Raven in Shadow's chat, and that was like, oh, we can have Raven in there. And now that you're in here, I know you do a stream with GM Cody talking about cryptids and such.
Yeah, we did a Bigfoot episode 2 shows ago.
Has there been any new Bigfoot news or sightings or anything reported lately?
Nothing that I've seen.
There are
I
sightings
don't have
all
a
the
Bigfoot
time,
story.
but no real. I usually go to Coast News for that sort of thing, and there's,
Yes.
I mean, every other day there's a new story of somebody seeing one somewhere. But there's been nothing really.
I'll always prefer
like,
ghost to ghost personally.
Yeah, I preferred Art Bell, and we'll leave it at
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I did too. I did too. But there's nothing really significant story wise, and nobody's had any, real interesting encounters or anything like that. You should have shared your story, Bruce.
It's still fairly recent. It just happened like 6-7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I just decided to pop over to the Coast to Coast website. Looks like they're talking about security camera captures of goblins over by a road in Mexico.
Of course.
I had no idea those things were going on. I've seen. I've not seen anything except for like
Yeah,
UFO.
people.
Go ahead.
Yeah, people talk about Bigfoot like it's the scariest thing in North America. No, actually, look up the Kentucky Goblin stories. Dear God,
No,
So are
yeah,
you
but
talk-
hang on. Before we go down into the
Kentucky
Kentucky
Goblins
Goblins,
are some of the
which I can talk about for hours, let's
What
deal
is-
with the fact that the scariest thing in North America are the Appalachian people themselves.
okay, that's fair.
You find yourself in the wrong
That is
holler,
totally
boy,
fair.
I tell you, you're going to be in a whole world of shit, you know?
People usually think of
Oh yeah,
Bigfoot as only happening in the
we have
Pacific
places like that you
Northwest.
don't want to go here out here.
Sorry, Flady entered the chat. Like of all my
I've heard Bigfoot stories from all across America. What I've noticed, and Bear pointed out the other half of the story, which is quite handy if you ask me. The further south you are, generally, except for the swamp Bigfoot, almost every single Bigfoot
Okay.
in the south is fairly nice, not known for being super aggressive, chase you off, but not necessarily going to just outright kill you. The further north you get, the meaner the motherfuckers get, and usually the likelier they're just going to kill you for absolutely no reason. And then
Well,
Bear
there's
immediately
still
follows that. Yeah, and the further north you
zero-
go, the meaner the bears get too.
Okay, slow down. Just slow down. One, there is no recorded Bigfoot murder ever on record anywhere.
I was just getting ready to say that.
Stories, there might be people saying it, but there's no proof that a Bigfoot has ever killed anyone. Zero proof. Zero. There is.
I didn't say there was proof. I was just saying the
pets,
stories.
specifically dogs, because dogs will get aggressive with them and they defend themselves. That is known. And as for things getting meaner the further north you get, well, where are there less people? The south or the north?
Canada.
Fair.
So the more north you get, the less acclimatization to civilization animals have. So they have one of two reactions to humans: fight or flight. It's actually terrifying with wild animals the further south you get or the closer to civilization centers, because they get accustomed to humans and they no longer run at the smell of them. And we're seeing that with coyotes, who are now breeding with wolves. So if my Bigfoots up here in Canada are aggressive, good. Stay out. That's the best advice I'll ever give you.
Yeah. Okay. I get your point. It's just when you pointed out the bears are same exact way, I thought that was an interesting dynamic.
But again, it's lack of exposure to humans. You go to British Columbia and you go up onto North Vancouver and up the sides of the Cascade Mountains where they're building all these homes. Bears, and I don't mean black bears, I mean grizzly bears, are walking into people's kitchens in the middle of the day and helping themselves to food. They're not in our habitat. We're in their habitat.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with your Sasquatch phenomena, is that the more we build into their habitat in the places where they're not used to being around humans, the more aggressive and defensive of their territory they're going to be. You go further south, they've been dealing with humans for 300 years, 400 years maybe. So they're kind of like, whatever. We deal with them, we stay out of their way, leave them alone. You go up to the north, who the fuck's this asshole? Why is he in my place? I must whoop, and throw trees at him. That's the mentality. It's an animal mentality.
I am so thankful that the Bigfoot that we encountered was only had a footprint 5 inches larger than my foot size, which is a size 10, 11, depending on where you're at in North America. It was 5 inches bigger than my foot. Nobody had a foot close to that, but the guys were saying, the company men were telling us that they were seeing things between 7 and 8 foot high on some of the surveillance footage, but they never see a good picture of it. It's like one of those shows on Animal Planet or History Channel where we almost saw Bigfoot. We almost caught Bigfoot, but we missed it by that much, and it's just...
Well, that's because Bigfoot is actually an interdimensional being that's half part of our dimension, half part of another at all times.
I know you're going to cringe at this, Bear, but they're able to raise and lower their frequency, and just like a radio dial, tuning in, they can phase in and phase out, and they are very good with frequency, and that's why, like,
Raven,
when you heard that,
they are normal. They are not supernatural. I will say this. They are
I didn't say they're
100% a
supernatural.
species of ape that has not been found yet.
I don't think they're apes. They're much
I,
more intelligent than that.
I would agree with her.
Much more intelligent than apes. They're not even close.
I think there might
That's
be like at least a couple different varieties.
obviously they didn't want to hurt you, and they could have. You know, they were just throwing mud at your truck.
Yeah.
You know, clods of grass and whatever. You
Yeah,
know, they weren't out. They did not have an ill intent. They just wanted you to go away, get off their land. You know, they could have. When you heard that yell reverberate in your chest, you knew you were dealing with an entity that's got some power.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You recognize, like, I'm not that big. I'm small.
And that's what they'll do to like scare off hunters that meander onto their grounds, you know, their areas and so forth. They'll do one of those yells. And some of the hunters that have been in your situation talk about how the yell, when it's reverberating in their chest, it also gives them like disoriented. They're very disoriented. Did you experience any of that?
I was already gripping tight onto the truck, so I may have gotten disoriented, but I knew which way to fall.
Yeah.
I was already weary. I could feel something battering on my psyche, but I was just not wanting to acknowledge it. You know,
Mhm.
like you hear shit in your head sometimes, and you're like,
Oh yeah.
that's not
Well,
real.
they're said to be very telepathic. That's what
Stop.
that's what people
That's nothing
report.
to do with Bigfoot. That's everything to do with the human fight or flight nature response. Humans
Well,
have
there's
three
also
responses
there's a
uncompromising
form.
fear. They will fight, they will run, or they will freeze. That is the three things humans do. And it is an uncontrollable reaction in your brain. The
Yeah.
chemicals in your brain are going crazy because your adrenal gland is kicking in and it's pumping endorphins into your system. It's not telepathic phasing big feet that are the problem. It's the human condition that is the problem.
Well, I don't deny that what you're saying is true. But I'm saying, in addition to that, Bear, there is also telepathy involved that many people report.
There has been a lot of reports about telepathy.
Yeah, people report a lot of crazy shit, guys. That's what you need to understand.
Telepathy has been proven,
No,
scientifically
it has
proven.
not. It
Look,
has not
yeah,
been proven, ma'am.
Google.
Are you going to point me to the autism tapes? Because if you're going to point me to that, that's not proven. The science on that
No,
is
I was just going to throw. I was going to throw the remote viewing at you.
remote viewing is not proven. It is circumstantial, and in fact, scientific study, non-biased scientific study, finds remote viewing falls well within the lucky guess perspective of the stuff they've been able to see. So again, guys, you got to keep an open mind, but you got to use a brain of science at the same time.
Correct.
Number one, humans lie. Number two, humans don't understand things they see. And number three, when a human sees something they don't understand and fear grips them, they're no longer a good witness. They are now a very, very poor and unreliable narrator because their brain is going crazy and filling in details. Sorry, this is reality, man. I believe in Bigfoot. But when people start adding all these extra layers of mysticism to it, it's just pure woo-woo.
Like, when I was there, I
Yeah.
can tell you, Bear, from my experience firsthand,
Sure.
that I could feel like there was something that was not far away. Like, you ever go into a room in the dark and you can tell somebody's in there, but they're doing a really good job of like tempering their breath and not making a sound, and you don't see them until you turn the lights on and they're like, surprise. You ever have that? I had the same fucking feeling, except it was in my goddamn head, and I could feel like there was something pretty close, because whatever we had done to level a acre of land to park trucks on it, we had intruded on their territory, and we had a setup a mile and a half away, which wasn't so fucked with until the last week, and I was on my days off and I didn't care.
Do you see me at any point in time denying that you saw a Bigfoot?
I never got to see the fucker. That's the part.
Or thought there
that
was a
I'm okay
Bigfoot,
with it,
or
but
felt there was a Bigfoot?
yeah,
You see me denying that in any way, shape, or form? No.
I'm not, but I can tell you that there was definitely something close enough to where it's able to make its presence known, and
So-
I can definitely tell you that whatever it was, I think if I had been more into the woo woo, I would have came back with a story that like I made contact with Bigfoot. I'm pretty certain that's where this conversation would go.
Let me
But
ask you a question, Bruce.
Go
Let me
ahead.
ask you a simple question.
Go ahead.
What's more likely? A million years of evolution to escape predators until we develop technology. Therefore, our skin is literally the largest sensory organ in the human body. And we can feel when people look at us. We can feel when there's something happening. Our brain picks up on microscopic things that we can't realize consciously, but subconsciously we're picking up scents, we're picking up smells, we're picking up this, we're picking up that. Or there's a 10-foot telepathic, dimension-shifting wild man running around the woods of North America. What seems more reasonable? What seems more rational? What seems more probable?
I'm talking about Bigfoot, so I don't know if I should even be bundling reasonable here.
That's fair.
Okay, because there's been too many accounts that I've read or I've heard where people have been on UFOs and there's a Bigfoot or there's a dog man. And I want to kind of know what are these two doing? What do they have in common? Why are they together? Now, there's only about 50 accounts I've read where that happens.
Oh, Raven, no, I love your when you're around because we get to have our little sparring matches, but your internet hates us.
Raven, this is a problem I call Illinoisism. She's in Southern Illinois, and I used to make fun of this being Canada Net, but Canada got their fiber, they got their groove. Illinois,
Raven's backstage, let her in.
oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. If I can prevent you from shit talking my country, I will.
Raven, there you are.
Welcome back, Raven.
Welcome back.
There, can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine.
My camera's
Yeah.
not working.
Just saw
Now
a
my
blip
camera's
on
not
your
on.
face.
If we can just have Raven here, camera or not, I'm happy.
There we go. Okay. Oh, it keeps dropping. It did this a couple times during Justin's show too. It's just the weather here is ridiculous. Anyway,
Anyway,
So,
all I'm saying is it behooves us very little in the discussion of anything supernatural, paranormal, or of the weird to start adding crazy people's stories to it. And that's what we have to keep in mind. You said that you've read a lot of UFO stories where people have seen a dog man on the UFO, or they've seen a Bigfoot on the UFO.
yeah.
And you said it like it was a statement of fact.
But because I've
not.
read accounts about it, until I can disprove them, I'm going to treat them as if like, now, I don't know this person personally, but they made this statement. It could be factual. It could be full of malarkey. I don't
right.
know.
All right.
But they
I'm
say,
down with your
and there's
here.
many reports that say the same thing consistently. So that's all I'm saying. Didn't
Yeah,
say
all I'm
that
saying
I
is
know
that
for
these
sure
people
that they're
all
telling the
swim in
truth,
same
or
pools.
that I even believe them. But this is what is reported. That's all.
Right. But these people all talk in the same circles. They all hang out in the same places. They all swim in the same pools. So there's a lot of cross-pollination. There's a lot of cross-contamination because
Sometimes,
they all hang
yeah.
out in the same. The ones you ever notice the people who have zero interest in this stuff, their accounts sound nothing like anybody else's. Their accounts are less crazy, less, super powered Pleiadians coming to save us and Bigfoot is their ambassador and all that nonsense. And they're just, I saw something weird. I saw some weird looking dudes. I got a weird mark and I lost 12 hours of my life.
Mhm.
That's the stuff we need to look at because those are the people who are not contaminated by coast to coast or chat groups or they've read 30 books on the subject or because whether we like it or not as humans, as we consume information, it stores in our brain. And when we are presented with something terrifying, something dangerous, something scary, the human brain provides an explanation to try and keep us from freezing and getting murdered. So I hear a strange noise in the middle of the night and I wake up and all I think is, Beans, Misty, knock that shit off. Someone with no cats who believes fully in ghosts or UFOs or whatever it is they believe in wakes up and hears weird noises in the middle of the night, their brain goes, aliens, ghosts.
Yeah.
Anything
Well,
to keep them functional.
I've had a UFO experience, and I have had missing time, and it happened
I
while I
know
was
you
in my
have, Raven.
Jeep.
We've talked
It
about it
wasn't a
before.
matter of the cats or anything like that,
Yes,
and it's terrifying.
yes, and to Raven, I have heard your stories. I have heard your stories. I have also heard of the aftermath of these stories. as someone with seizures, I can tell you right now, a good chunk of them was a seizure. Because you have the same exact aftermath I do.
I'll be right back. I need a drink.
Oh, well, it's the only time I've ever had one. I've not ever been prone to seizures ever. And so,
Raven, you woke up with your head in your steering wheel.
Yeah.
The aliens have absolutely no reason to do that. And I mean
I
absolutely
don't know how
no
the hell
reason.
it got there, though. It takes a struggle to even do that, to twist your head and get it all the way through the.
Raven, do you know what happens in a grand mal seizure? You can literally hit your head on the ground hard enough to instantly kill yourself.
I've heard that before.
Well, it just seems to be very strange that
You would have more than enough force to shove your own head in the steering wheel during a seizure.
Well, I was filming a UFO at the time, so that's
That-
why it's
that-
not just that I woke up like
Well,
that.
no, I'm not going to I'm not going to immediately say, oh well, then it's definitely aliens. But you have to consider, like I said, after everything I have heard you say, you have to at least consider a few of them as a seizure, not actually aliens. Now, before you start letting it me, oh well, I have that comes with missing time. But with that said, most of my missing time is seizures. Medically proven seizures.
But that's not to say that's exactly what Raven's experiencing either.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. So one of the problems we have in the community and in the
No, that's fair.
discussion is the I problem. I experienced, I saw, this happened, therefore this is a blanket truth now. No. It is an individual experience. It is true for the individual.
Right.
Unless it is documented and verifiable by outside sources, it will only ever remain that thing. So for you, TCG, you have seizures. That explains it for you. Great. Raven has never had seizures, she says before. She had one incident. That's different.
And she could actually, I don't know if you can detect if somebody has seizures by having them go through a small battery of tests. I would imagine that she probably could go to a doctor or go to a clinic and have some things ran here and there.
Well,
I have two missing time
the only
things
way to
while filming a UFO here
Well,
in my yard.
Wait, while filming a UFO kind of changes things a little differently because
Yeah, both
you-
times.
you
And
should
the only two times that I've ever had missing time. So,
wow. Do you have those recordings?
Yeah.
still?
yep, I do. I have them on my cell phone.
Okay, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you because you've seen stuff before, and do you have them in shareable format now?
Yeah, in fact, I can upload them to my YouTube channel or send them to you, whatever you want.
I would
to do.
prefer.
I
to
did
put on
have
your-
one up on my YouTube channel, and I was changing the name and trying to redo it, and then it got deleted off there, and I just haven't re-uploaded it yet. But it was November 22nd of, it was 2 years, was it 23 or 24 now? 23,
I would love it if
23 or 22. I remember because it was like 11/22. I remember that, because of the date. And
nice master number.
because it was a double digits, it was easy to remember. That was the second one. The first one happened prior to that, in like February, when my head was through the steering wheel.
The footage of Bigfoot that's
And it was a full moon. And I first started to film the full moon when I noticed the UFO. And it was like right there in my windshield as I was leaving the store. The store was closing at 10, so I know exactly what time it was. And I came home up here on top of this hill. I had a really good view to continue filming it. And I was sitting in my Jeep, and I had my hand out the door with the window down and filming it, with my elbow resting on there. And then I blanked out. Next thing I know, now this is what's really weird. The windows were rolled up. The phone was over in the passenger seat. My head is through the steering wheel, and I'm staring at the floor, and I got a mouthful of blood. And 4 hours are gone. I've thought about being hypnotized to try to relive that night, and yet I just, and when I got out, I felt like I had been roofied or something. I was like, my legs were like rubber. I just could not even hardly walk up the stairs to get in the door. And I was just so I could tell that I was in shock. That how everything's just kind of woozy. I was cognizant enough of the fact that I was in shock, and I just put my sweats on and sat down and just started to binge watch something on Gaia TV until I fell asleep. And I stayed that way all weekend. This happened on a Friday. And I didn't talk about it for a good year because I was just so freaked out by the whole thing. I had some bruises on me too. I don't remember if I took pictures of those or not. I have to go back and look. But anyway, that was the first time.
Yeah, I had the footage of my truck covered in dirt clods with some dings and dents in the hood. That was 8 phones ago. We had BlackBerry. I don't know why we had a BlackBerry. That was a work phone. Work apparently stumbled on a deal where they could get Blackberries, and then like 6 months later, our work shuts down. So I don't see it being coincidental. You opted for a BlackBerry. We opted to close. If you ever can get that footage uploaded, that'd be great, Raven.
Yeah.
I would want to see it. I'm sure others would like to see it. I would love to see that be something that could possibly be shared around on the circles of the George Norrie Coast to Coast, which I don't know. Is Ian Pundit still doing stuff? Jimmy Church is.
Yeah, Jimmy Church is. Ian Pundit kind of retired. He had tinnitus really bad and had to cut back his. It was just hard for him to be on the radio with the headphones on and so forth because the tinnitus was so bad.
That's why I don't have a job requiring me to have headphones.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say something real quick? I've been waiting
Please.
for you guys to get done. Only thing I can say about a Bigfoot, I've never seen one. I've been out in the woods and camping and everything, and I've never felt like I was being watched. I mean, I have seen bear and deer and fox and all kinds of stuff. But this one story that someone told me, and they were in Louisiana, and they said it was in Louisiana when it happened. It was that, sorry, I'm putting some of my hair. They
There's a
said
bear.
that they had taken a couple of kittens and put them in a plastic bag, and they had taken them out in the woods and they'd thrown them. And as soon as they threw them on the ground, they heard rustling and noises in the woods. And it sounded big, whatever it was, because they could hear the branches breaking and things like that. And they thought it was a bear, so they ran. They got in their car, they drove down a little bit down the road, and then they waited about 20 minutes and they went back to see if the bear, killed the kittens or, whatever that they put in that bag because they were trying to get rid of these kittens. And when they went back, the bag was untied and the kittens were standing there just waiting for someone to come get them. And that the one girl, when she heard that, she said, that sounds like a Bigfoot. Because she said that they've had stories, a lot of people were talking about different things like that, that a Bigfoot had helped stranded animals, deer that were caught in a stream, that leg was hooked, or different things. And they saw it, but they didn't have a camera because they were out there just hiking, different things like that. So I tend to believe more that a Bigfoot's not going to come and rip your head off and shit down your windpipe type of thing. I just believe that.
No, that's Dr.
that,
Detroit. Dr. Detroit's
that
been rare for
Bigfoot is just a creature that probably doesn't like us too much because we burn their forests and we make noise and we throw garbage and we're just not good. We're just all, a lot of animals can tell, like a horse, they'll buck you off or won't even let you get on their back if they think that you're not a good person. Things like that. I just think that animals have that sense. And I tend to believe that Bigfoot is not a horrible, mean, terrible monster, like a bear or something when you're messing with their cubs. But what
Or like
mother
a
wouldn't defend
Yamagalachi.
what bear or what animal wouldn't defend her babies? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well,
So that was all I wanted to
yeah,
add.
Janet,
Yeah.
the whole Bigfoot not being violent depends on your mythology. Like Skunk Man, who is generally considered a Bigfoot, is
Skunk
a
Ape?
very
Skunk Ape.
mean motherfucker. All the stories about him says he's gonna Skunk Ape. Thank you. Says he's going to mess your world up. Up
But he's
further
in the
north, like in
south.
Alaska,
That throws off your
all the stories of
earlier
Bigfoot there.
theory.
And the ones
I
in
said
Russia.
he was the exception.
The ones in
Florida.
Russia are known to be
Florida
the
is
most
the
violent.
exception.
There are stories where Bigfoot. Hey, things in swamps are mean, like naturally.
I just know that they like
I
the beef jerky, and I know that the igloo, the cooler that they had
oh yeah, it is.
was about a year over like the point of time where I would keep something, because if like there's no hinges left on
Yeah.
a cooler, get rid of it. But they kept bringing the cooler back and fitting the lid back on, knowing that it would blow off or the duct tape wouldn't hold or whatever. Bigfoot reckoned that thing was the best thing that ever happened to that cooler.
Well, as I was going to say earlier, you're talking about the pictures, no good pictures in the blurry video and all that stuff. I believe it was the great philosopher Mitch Hedberg who said, I think Bigfoot is blurry, and that's the problem. It's not the photographer's fault. Bigfoot is blurry, and that's extra scary to me. There's a large, out-of-focus monster roaming the countryside. Run, he's fuzzy, get out of here.
Why do I laugh? I get a cramp in my thigh.
I don't know.
That's why I love the movie Harry and the Hendersons, because I believe that is basically what Bigfoot would be like if you were to really get one.
You ever notice the difference between female and male views of Bigfoot in general? Females tend, for the most part, to think they're a peaceful, loving, hippy-dippy, whatever. And men are like, it's a 10-foot tall fucking monster. Like, it's so weird. Like, just looking at that difference in behavior, I can track it.
Our children.
So was that TCG?
I said, no, it's going to eat our children.
Was that Bruce? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's me. I said that. I
just
thought
saw
like,
it go off
you let a Bigfoot in your yard, and it's going to just like, oh, it grabs your 12-year-old daughter and goes to the hills, and you hear her being just ripped apart, and you find little like bits of her entrails.
What the fuck movie is this?
Like
there are many stories of Bigfoot actually returning children to get lost in the woods.
Really?
They describe a big hairy man. Sometimes it's been a woman actually, keeping them warm, wrapping them up and keeping them warm, and they take them back to where they can be found. They take them back to the road or take them back to a cabin.
I've never heard that. I hear the David Paulides stories.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say that. David Paulides has a bunch of stories of that. And there's another channel here on YouTube called How to Hunt. And it is he's like a hunting guide. He had a Bigfoot. Pardon me?
That's Stephen. He's out of Canada, over at British Columbia, I believe. And
yeah.
He has some amazing footage, but he never shows never shows Bigfoot. Like when they do show Bigfoot, he's like 70 yards away. It's fuzzy. Like,
well, no one wants to get hit in the head with a rock.
Yeah, that is an issue.
But yeah, I've been following his channel for a while, and it's interesting how he's got this scientist friend. I can't remember what he calls him, Edgar or something like that. That he's got to kind of keep his identity on the down low because he's still employed by the government. But he's been talking about how they'll come right up to the electric fence and locate the cameras, and then pretty soon that camera's and that's offline because they throw rocks at it or they tear it down or whatever. But that they're somehow impervious to radiation, and that they have taken Geiger counters out after they have seen the Bigfoot tear down one of their cameras and taken those, that measure the radioactive stuff. I think it's called a Geiger counter, to the footprints. And there's a they'll register on that. It's
Everything
a bizarre
registers on a
thing.
Geiger counter, though.
Pardon me?
Everything registers on a Geiger counter. There's background radiation that'll register on a Geiger counter. Our own bodies will register on a Geiger counter because of the radiation. I mean, people have invested their lives in misleading people, and it drives me nuts. And those are the ones
that's not his intention at all. He's very straight up. He's a straight up dude, and
Is he making money off this? Simple question.
No, he's just got a channel, and people, he's offering kind of a therapeutic service. People that have needed to want to tell their Bigfoot story that they can't tell their
Okay.
family or friends because they don't want to lose their jobs or their spouse or be made fun
Find this
of.
guy's channel.
And it's a form of therapy that they're able to write into him, and he reads their stories, within that a safe space. No one there on that channel is going to make fun of him. He's not going to let anybody make fun of him, and they can kind of get it off their chest and tell their story. And it's cathartic thing for them. Pardon me?
Factsbyhowtohunt.com.
Yep.
Yeah.
338,000 subscribers. He's averaging about 100,000 views per video. He's making money off this.
Okay.
So you got to keep that in mind. When someone starts making money off something, you have to keep in mind that money is a tremendously motivating factor for people.
Not everybody is a charlatan, though. And not everybody is out to make a buck.
What
I
happened to
started
Jim?
watching him when he didn't have but a couple thousand subscribers,
Okay.
and he's not sitting around just making a fat paycheck off this doing nothing. He's a hunting guide. He takes these city slickers out, when they want to go hunting or fishing or whatever, and takes them into the back.
And people pay for that service. That's not a free service.
That's how he's made his living all his life. And so it wasn't until he had his own Bigfoot experience and then felt the ridicule and the burn from friends and family that it's what was what motivated him to start the channel, in other words.
Well, I just got attacked by a Littlefoot, so there we are. You're an asshole. That's what you are. You're an asshole. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know the guy. Don't know what to say, but I don't know.
I've been watching it for a while. He's really got a lot of integrity. He's totally authentic. He's not a...
Do you know him personally?
I don't, but after watching him for a couple of years... And
you don't know he has integrity, and you don't know anything about him.
He's not a phony. Just check it out and tell me what...
Yeah, but this is the problem. You accept it and go, well, he's legitimate. You don't know. You don't know him.
You don't know either, and you're accusing him of being a charlatan and wanting to make a buck off this.
Raven. I've dealt with enough human beings to be cautious. I've seen enough people lie.
I have too, and I'm telling you, my impression of him is totally straight up, and he's authentic. You need to watch him and then form your own opinion and let me know, because he's pretty damn cool.
We'll see. Maybe I'll watch him.
Yeah, you should. Before you're going to pass judgment on him, you at least need to watch it.
I watched that guy Bruce suggested to me, and boy, I got tired of that guy real quick.
Which one?
Which guy?
The trail cam guy there. What was his name? The one that has all the he runs videos of like footage caught in the woods and stuff like that.
Dread Captures.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
I got tired of Dread. It's the Dread Network.
Oh, I don't even. I'm not familiar with them.
Dread, it's just like it's recycled shit, and 80% of it's just recycled shit that he found on other stuff or a live leak or whatever. And it's fuzzy videos of a guy dressed up in a big suit. A lot of it's staged, and then some of it's fucking CGI because he tried putting a fucking dragon on a video one night, and I could start slowing it down and start seeing the artifacting in video. When I went and found the actual video, I could definitely tell it was CGI. So I was just kind of like, well, fuck that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was about 3 weeks after I got done talking to Bear about him. And I'm sorry that I gave you the wrong impression.
Well, okay. I checked him out. And at the end of the day, he had no credibility. Just like that one ghost video guy I watched, when the guy with his picture of the guy with the sheet walking across the balcony in the church. Was it a ghost? No, it was his buddy in a sheet. Like, come on. And that's the problem. Cody and
you
I
have to be very discerning with all that stuff.
Cody and I will never blow up. We will never have 300,000 viewers and subscribers like all these other paranormal channels. Cody and I treat it very real. We take it seriously. We debunk. We don't just believe anything that comes along. Well, the vast majority of paranormal consumers, and that's what they are, even books or whatever, don't want to hear facts, don't want to hear debunking. They want echo chamber. They want
Mhm.
confirmation of what they already believe. They want confirmation of their fantastic view of the universe. So if you give them that, I'm looking at it now.
So he makes maybe 187 a day on a good upload day. On a bad upload day, 1171 monthly. That's between 351 and 5600.
Who are we talking about?
The facts by howtohunt.com.
Okay, great. Good for him. I could use an extra $5,000 right now. I wouldn't be complaining.
Yeah, exactly. But like 67K a year, like he's got
On
at
top
least-
of his fucking hunting excursion business that now has crazy Bigfoot people coming to him going, can you take me out into the woods and show me where you saw the Bigfoot? And paying for that.
okay. If you're willing
He
to
doesn't
pay
give
money,
Bigfoot hunting tours.
You don't know that?
if you're willing to
I've
go
been
pay
to his
for-
websites, and he's
He
not
doesn't-
advertising and he's not professing that he can take you to go see Bigfoot either.
Okay, Janet, Raven, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who go, I saw your video about the Bigfoot. I see you have these tours going into the woods. How much would it cost for me and like 3 of my friends for you to take us to where you saw the Bigfoot? I guarantee you he gets hit by that request often. Now, maybe he's the greatest guy in the world. Maybe he feeds the homeless and bathes the feet of lepers for all I know. The point is, there is a potential for financial reward for talking about Bigfoot for him. So there you go. That's it. That's all we have to hear about.
His area of expertise is around here, the Bamfield area.
Yeah.
He'll go other places, but this is primarily where you're going to find.
I have a cryptid question for Janet.
Raven? TCG, did you just disconnect?
Yeah, I meant to say Raven, but Bear. No, Bruce continue.
Go ahead there.
Raised with someone talks it. I have an explanation. We'll leave it at that anyway, because it's a Bear and Raven question. Do either of you know of a cryptid that looks like 4 trees in an area, blocks out the sun, and then spot the next day those 4 trees and the sunblock is gone?
No.
Because I
Never heard of
experienced
that.
that as a kid.
Never heard that before. I might chalk that up to lots of things before we get to a cryptid, that's for sure. Not the least of which would be
That's fair. It's
misremember.
just something I experienced as a kid. It always stuck with me.
Yeah, well, kids experience
That's
great
interesting.
things.
No, I've never
And
heard of anything
yeah.
like that.
I've heard of a tree before chasing kids in the woods on the Beyond Creepy channel, but that's an account, so you can either accept it as fiction, or you could accept it as, well, this might have happened.
Which one's Beyond Creepy? That's the guy that always blurs out his face?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he's another Canadian.
There's nothing wrong with you guys. Come on. Eh?
There's tons wrong with us. We're idiots.
So, same with us.
No, you guys voted right. We didn't. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Because I'm not getting you off on your politics shit, Bruce.
I was hoping to not go into politics. I
Good.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, he's good. I like bedtime stories better.
Bedtime stories and wartime stories are fucking almost top tier.
Yeah.
In my
Dark
opinion,
5 used to be good, but now they're not.
no, I can't watch top 5 nowadays.
Oh, Dark 5. It's their,
Oh,
their
Dark 5?
used to be really good. It's not anymore. Gotta get Raven on there as a program director so she can give them the best woo-woo stories. And then they'll put those on millions of dollars.
You know, I actually think Raven could be a good program director or even a front lady for a cryptid show. I'm not saying that I'm doing this for clicks today, but I wanted to talk to Raven because I don't ever talk to Raven directly about this. If Raven's in the panel with me, we're talking about Doctor Who or Star Wars or politics. And Raven's here. Fuck, why am I talking to Raven about anything but cryptids? Because, yes, the other things are fun, but I want to hear Raven's stuff about this and what she's heard. That's what I wanted to, and I appreciate everybody appealing to me today on that and letting me run with that today, because that was what I wanted to hear. Her UFO testimony I've never heard before.
It sounded more like, I want to talk to him about that. And then Bear showed up with his logic.
It's okay with your logic. If we can have a foil, I'm okay with that.
The thing is I said this, I used to say this on Shadow's conspiracy iceberg thing we did with his son. Amongst my friends, I'm the woo-woo guy. That's disturbing to me. That I'm the woo-woo guy in real life, and when I hang out in these YouTube things, I'm the most rational person in the conversation. It's really creepy to me.
But the problem because in the real world, you and your friends don't listen to podcasts or Dixie Cryptid or other. You don't. Most people don't.
Yeah,
And
my friends
so-
do. They just think it's all amusing, and they think most of these people are crazy or lying or mentally impaired.
But what
That's
if
their
they're not?
Well,
What if
maybe-
they're not?
What if they are? What if they are?
Some are, I think.
It's not
I
an
do.
argument to say what if they're not? What if it's real? That's not an argument.
Uh,
That's just a thought, and I agree with you on that. What if some of them aren't crazy? What if some
They
of them
can't
have
all
real genuine
be.
experiences?
They can't all be crazy,
And that's why I believe in UFOs.
you know. And when you get enough similarities, and oftentimes there's some physical evidence. We have hair samples from Sasquatch, and we also had DNA. And there's a whole big thing that went on with this lab, with this DNA stuff. But the thing is that it came back that the mitochondrial DNA was human, the mother's side, but the father's is unknown. Well, of course, it's going to something with a Sasquatch is not going to be in the computer system, in their genetic, lineup or whatever call it. But it's half human. There's intelligence.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in a way, just because they don't drive cars and build rockets and stuff doesn't mean that they're stupid. They're
Well,
smarter than we are in some ways.
Hang on. According to some people, they are building rockets and they come from UFOs and they're part of the Pleiadian hierarchy that's here to save us from our own foibles and blah, 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 blah. So,
Okay, you
who
want to go
knows?
really woo? Okay, here's the really woo about what
Here's
Bigfoot
the raven
is.
I love.
Here we
Go.
go. Okay, you ready for this? When the Anunnaki came down and started tinkering around with the evolving primate on this planet, that evolving primate, unbroken, is Sasquatch. We are the product of that tinkering, where they mixed their DNA with the Sasquatch DNA and created humans.
What about the tree species that they created first?
The what?
Yeah, see, you want to throw some Anunnaki shit at me, and I got deeper cuts for you on the Anunnaki. So according to the mythology, they actually created a species of movable sentient trees first that were terrible workers. So they said, funk that, wiped them out, created their first race of humans. They got lazy and wanted too much food. They went, funk that, wiped them out, and then made us.
Well,
So-
they went through several, because
Where are
they
the trees?
couldn't reproduce. The very first humans in the Enuma Elish talk about they were not able to reproduce, and they needed
know.
to keep tinkering with it until they could get them to where they would be able to multiply on their own and procreate.
Worst thing they ever did to us. Fucking.
But it's all in the Sumerian tablets, and the thing is, people think that's just all mythology. Well, to them it wasn't. This was their history that they put down. And if it was important enough to put it down, and it wasn't an easy process, that cuneiform writing with that little ledger wedge pen thing is not, it takes a skill and it takes a lot of time. So you're not going to just write down a bunch of hooey, and
But they kept track of prices of wheat.
They
And
Why
did.
is that the worst thing that ever happened?
what?
it isn't. I don't
Why
think.
is that the worst thing that ever happened?
What is the worst thing that ever happened?
You said the worst thing that ever happened is the effing.
Oh yeah, because look at us. We're obsessed with it. It drives us. It's the one
Well,
compelling universal thing
people-
that makes humans all
People in
connect.
my situation who haven't had it in over a year or so, and forget what it's like and miss the closeness that you get from it, would not agree with you saying that was the worst thing that ever happened. So I'm sorry, it
Now,
just hit me
now,
wrong.
now, Janet, you know I love you like a
I
play
agree,
cousin.
Janet.
Hang on. I love you like a play cousin, Janet, and you know that. But notice I didn't say it was a bad experience. I said it was the worst thing they ever did to us because it's all we fucking fixate on as a species.
Well, I do think
It's
about
different.
it, but only
I
because
enjoy
I'm
it too.
doing
It's a lot
without.
of fun. It's better than baseball. It's fun.
Well, if people could do it the right way and pick one mate and be fair to that mate and be able to talk to that mate and share their intimacy with each other and become partners in life, I think that it would be a wonderful world. It's just sad that people are obsessed with the next best thing because for some reason, the person who moves on to the next best thing thinks they are better when they're really the one that's not better. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's
Makes
how I'm
Yeah, it
seeing
does.
it.
but it's also
Yeah.
fighting something that is the human hominid is not a mate for life species. So we fight our genetic need, our genetic imperative to spread, because that's what the human is designed to do. Whether it was the Anunnaki, God, or lightning in a pond, the human is designed to spread. That is the point of the human. That is the need of the human, to make as many little humans as they can so they can take over more and more and more and more and more. So as a result, when we get into these stick together, be in a relationship, and all this kind of stuff, there are people who can do it, and there are people who just cannot, despite being told they should do it. And those are the ones that ruin relationships. And they have penises and they have vaginas.
Yeah,
They're
and
on
that's
both
the sad
sides.
truth. You're right, because if a person is one of those people that don't believe that you should be with just one, that you should be able to be in hedonism and go to nude beaches and be in swingers clubs and all that stuff,
Don't do
then why
that.
do they,
Don't go to
then
the nude
why,
beaches.
well,
Don't.
why do
It's
they
better in your
tell
head.
one other person that I want to be with you forever and then get you wrapped around their finger and then they prove to you that everything they told you was lies?
Well,
That's what ruins
yeah.
that. The person
Well, listen,
lying to another person is wrong.
Raven's
Mhm.
history of sexual conquest aside, we're going to just have to take it there are bad people in this world. Come on, Raven, I'm trying to give you some props here like you're a player, but you're just sitting there staring at the screen. What beans? What? All right, fine. Sorry, Raven, that I implied you were a player. Okay, you feel better now? I
I'm not.
apologize.
Not at
Stop
all.
talking to my cat with your telepathy, Raven. You're making him do weird stuff, you crazy witch. Burn her! Burn her!
She's a witch.
No, but this is the problem. And the thing is that since we're off on this tangent, we might as well keep going on. Society tells us we need to be monogamous. Society tells us we need one man, one woman, and 3 children, whatever the case may be. And because that is not how we are designed, that is not how we are created, we can now clearly see that that is not working out in society, and hence we have 72 fucking genders and everything else that's going on. And all of this is a breakdown of the naturality of humans. Society does not work.
I'll agree with that.
Sadly. Cats, on the other hand, they're awesome. But they don't mate for life. They're dirty little alley cats. They're like Frenchmen.
I really like dogs better, but that's just me.
We broke dogs. We broke them. They were majestic wolves, and we turned them into idiots. Cats, on the other hand, have never changed.
Bullshit. They were fucking on the Serengeti. They were huge.
Oh, no. This thing does not descend from lions and leopards and all that. No. This thing descends from those small cats you see in the north of Africa. The ones that look like house cats, but don't touch them because they'll bite your fucking hand off. These guys wandered into our little villages and saw that we were storing things that attracted the things they really like to eat. So they went, I'm going to hang out here and eat like it's fucking amazing. And we went, wow, I'm losing less grain because you're here eating all the shit that eats my grain. You're awesome. Do you like fish? Have a fish. Hey. And there we were. Dogs, somehow we convinced wolves to hang out with us, and then we slowly broke them from being wolves into these like absolutely loyal creatures.
Like I love the terrier breeds. Like they have a nose. They can breathe right. Anything that looks remotely like a pug, I want to fucking Pele kick it. And I know I'm a terrible person for that.
That is terrible. And I got to go because I'm on Max Liao's show now, and it's starting in 15 minutes, and he's now arrived, and we all have to do the pre-show shit. So it was fun hanging out, Raven. I miss sparring with you. It used to be
I
the
miss
high point
sparring.
of my life.
I miss sparring with you too. And I have to go also. I got to be somewhere in 15 minutes. So, Bruce, thank you for inviting me. Janet, was good to see you. Good to see you too, Gamer.
Thank you guys. Have a wonderful
Crafty Gamer,
evening.
I'm sorry. Get tongue tied. All right.
We're going to wrap up the show after you two leave because I haven't eaten
See
yet,
ya.
and I'd like to have a nice end of day meal before me and Janet try to tackle her show. And so,
Okay.
I guess we'll just wrap up right now. Thank you one and all for showing up today for this. I know we didn't talk about everything we wanted to, but there's always next Friday.
Okay.
Thank you one and all so much on Rumble, on YouTube, and on X.
Yeah.
Good night.